Okay. Okay, and we're live. Wonderful. I made the things work. Oh gosh, bless the internet some days. So, I'm excited to be here with you guys today for another edition of Tech Talk with a special guest. I know a lot of you guys have asked me about, running ads, especially since we are, pretty big in the high level space, and the majority of folks in the high level world are running ads. However, because my home space is from Group Track, the organic social ads have always been a thing like maybe one day. And well, that day kind of has started to come because I met this amazing human being over here, Jes Laverde. And so, Jess, take a minute, introduce yourself. So, who are you and why are you awesome, my friend?
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Who am I? I'm Jess, and I have been in this online space since 2007, I want to say. So really long time. Started off like many people in organic and doing all of the things, but when we kicked off, we kind of kicked off as a social media marketing agency, and about 2018 kind of jumped into the Facebook ad world and kind of never look back, right? So, why am I awesome? Um, let's see. I have a wealth of experience from all the years being in this space. And, I think that organic and paid are a really great 1-2 combo that can really amplify your message so that you can make the impact you're looking to make. And I firmly believe that there's not one strategy that works for everyone. And it's finding the right strategy to give what you're doing the oomph it needs to amplify.
I love that. And honestly, that is exactly why I thought working with you was going to be great and why I want to introduce you to my community, right? Because you do have the background in organic and you see how that works, right? And really if you don't have that organic strategy, even if you are running ads, right? You're just going to start, might as well just go light your money on fire.
Right.
Right. So when someone is saying they want to look at ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they don't realize is there's a whole bunch of work they need to do beforehand. And did I lose internet again?
No, you're
Oh,
here.
okay, great. Right. So because even I had folks who were like, "Oh, I want to run ads." I was like, "Well, let's get you through our sales funnel stuff first. Let's get this mapped out." And they don't believe me. So from an
Right.
ads experts, what are the prerequisites before the like even just the baseline before running ads?
Um, and going back to kind of not one size fits all, right? You really need to be clear on your ideal client. You really need to be clear on what your marketing message is and what your transformation is that you're giving them. When you have those pieces put together, then it comes down to kind of what are your pillars? What are the pillars of what you're teaching? What are the pillars of what you're doing? What are the pillars of the service you're providing? And really, like, if you don't have organic content working well, it's probably not going to work well paid. It doesn't mean that you can't test it with paid anyway, but typically, if it's not doing well organically, it's not going to do hot paid. And your better cost comes from having good converting organic content.
I love that. And it's so true, right? Because if you're paying what and I know that the cost per lead totally varies, right? And if you don't know who your ideal client is, right? Meaning you have to have been able to sell your offer and know that, well, first off, is someone willing to buy your offer, right?
Right.
Like you have to have that data set knowledge, like, okay, people are willing to buy this, right?
Right.
So then really fine tuning, right? Like who are you trying to reach out to, right? Like certain age, certain gender, right? Like do they have a certain income? Do they, how established in their business or, how invested in their wellness or whatever it is
Mm-hmm.
they sell, right? Um And I know, especially after working with you, because oh my gosh, she made us strip back so much. She was like, "No, what are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I guess at the core of it, we help people grow their audience and convert on social." She's like, "Okay, anything that's not that, you're getting rid of it." And I was like, "Oh wow." Because it's true, and because you're one of the things that I thought was really interesting in working with you was just like the amount of different ways you can redirect your audience. So do you want to share a little bit about that? Because I found that super like, oh wow, like I didn't realize you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways depending on what your ultimate goal is, and to move people down the pipeline into becoming a client, right? And so, like we just talked about organic content, and if it's working well, it should work well in a paid ad. There are people who don't do organic; they go straight into paid, and they test their content at a low per day budget in order to see what's going to resonate, and they could spend hundreds of dollars, and they're doing that because they don't necessarily have the time to invest, right? So when we talk about the different ways that you can move people through, like I think when we were talking that one day, we talked about bringing them in and having them become a lead and then pushing them into the next piece. Or we talked about you could put them in Messenger and actually have a Messenger conversation and convert them that way. We talked about that if they went to a certain page, we could retarget them and make sure that we're re-hitting them with certain things, or that we could essentially wallpaper social media where they have an omnipresent strategy where they could be seen all the time, right? And I'm trying to think of what else we talked about that day. Like
Well, I mean,
the
it's so cool because when you're using platforms like High Level, right? And
Mhm.
well, specifically Nerdly, because let's be
Mhm.
real, it's the best.
It is.
Right? Like we can create and schedule content across all these platforms, right?
Correct.
And that is truly amazing because, right, people are on all different platforms, right? People are popping between Facebook, Instagram, YouTube,
Mhm.
TikTok. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I tell my friends, like, can we get the reel thread off of Facebook? Facebook does
Mhm.
not like us sending reels. I'm telling you. Only on mobile. If I open it on
Right.
my desktop, they're like, nope, sorry, you
Nope.
don't get that. I'm like,
Yeah.
fine. And so like people really are on all of these platforms
Mhm.
for various different reasons at various times of the day. And sometimes it's just seeing that message one more time,
Correct.
seeing that message in a different headspace,
Mhm.
right? Because if maybe they work on Facebook, right? Like we do, like this is our
Mhm.
workplace. And maybe they go to Instagram or TikTok to unwind. And when they're in a different mental space, they may be more receptive to your messaging.
Correct. Correct. And it's, the old adage of you have to repeat your messaging again and again and again. It's the repetition that makes you become what you're known for, right?
Exactly.
It's not having five different messages that you're spreading around all the place. It's your core message, your core value, your core thing, and all roads lead back to that. And it's putting those messages out with all of those roads leading back to that core message that get people to understand what it is you are doing.
Exactly. Um, let's see. What else does someone need to know? So we talked about like, making sure that you have an offer that converts, knowing who you are trying to speak to.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for me, when I help someone build out funnels, I always like to make sure that they have a lead magnet and a low ticket offer,
Yep.
and they're a book a call
Mm-hmm.
and like a mid ticket, right? Because
Correct.
if they don't come into your higher ticket program, you need to be like, all right, you still want them to buy something because also, and so it's always interesting because I always say you need to have them to buy something, and that in one way that can sound less positive salesy. However, at the end of the day, right, you have a transformation to offer them,
Mm-hmm.
and it is your job to figure out how to communicate that in a way that they're going to take action,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And that is the hard part, right? Like because
Yeah.
like like I'm super smart at what I do. And just like went to just took a battle axe to everything. She's like, no, okay, you're using too many words, and like I get really nerdy about it because I'm
Your
so
passion.
close to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that when you do start running ads, you are working with someone who knows what they're doing.
Right.
Because I mean, I know I futzed around with ads back when I was a network marketer and just,
Yeah.
blowing money into the wind.
Yeah.
Got a whole bunch of people that had nowhere near the right audience and nothing happened. It was yeah. So if someone wants to work with you, what's a good way, or do you have something that they can learn about to see?
I do. And I'm going to go back real quick before we go into that and kind of the lead magnet and all of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, I totally set up the question. Gotta love that.
We're good. Like the lead magnet, like if someone's trying to get started with ads, one of the very first things I would tell them to do is take the content that is converting organically and run it in a very low budget campaign. And the reason why is typically when we're doing organic, we're doing it in people's groups, we're doing it in our group, we're doing it on our profile. But when you start running ads, you have to do that from a Facebook business page. And when we're running them from a Facebook business page, they're not being seen because it's a pay to play place, right? And so take the stuff that's working organically, plug it into your page and boost it for a couple dollars a day. And what that'll do is that will build you an audience of people who are watching and engaging with the stuff that you're creating, which means you're now building a warmer audience because they're now starting to see who you are, which means then when you go launch the lead magnet or a new lead magnet or a low ticket offer, you have people who have been consuming, you're already converting organic content. You just reached a new audience by paying for them.
That's so
Makes
cool.
sense?
That's
right?
So cool.
And then the key is to make sure that what you're investing, you're getting an ROI on, because nobody wants to invest and not get a return. So like to kind of give you an example, a year ago in July, we turned on some ads because we were testing a back end sequence. So we wanted to bring leads into our lead magnet, and we wanted to test kind of the follow up sequence, like the nurturing behind. And so we turned on our ads to, and I'm going to tell you, we started at $10 a day. We didn't go over the top. We started at $10 a day. And we were within 7 days at 86-cent opt-ins. And then wonderful
opt-ins.
Yes. And then
insane.
Wonderful old Instagram was like, bye, and shut down my profile. So within 24 hours, we had to flip into a brand new profile, brand new Facebook page, returned on the ads. And I think with that, our cost optimized at $1.32 a lead.
That's still not bad.
Not bad at all.
That's insane. Like, because I know you were telling me about a client that you were getting, I think it was like $3 a lead. And even that, if I get them right into my system and I get them, paying $3 a lead, they're going to go through my funnel. They're going to see what my offer is.
Correct.
Like, that's magical.
Yeah. So, and that's what we did. We were getting dollar leads, like $2 leads and $3 leads eventually. And what we did is we put them through our funnel, and off the back end of that, I think we spent $5,000 total over the course of several months. And we ended up creating over $40,000 in revenue, just directly attributed to those ads.
And how much did those ads cost overall for the 40,000?
We spent 5,000.
Yeah, that's not bad. $5,000 to make 40 grand. I mean,
No.
I like, math isn't my favorite. That's not my jam. I use spreadsheets, but I'm telling you, I know that math, and that math is nice.
Yeah. And that's just like, that was just from follow-up and through our funnel, right? We just started our own ads again recently. Those are some of those $2 and $3 ads we're talking about. And we've already, in those ads alone, 3x our ad spend in 7 days.
I love that.
Right. And that's where the power comes. Like, you've got to be careful to watch those numbers because you want to be profitable. You want to make sure that you're not like way off course. But again, this is a simple lead magnet to a low ticket offer. right? It's a very simple funnel because we know that simplicity scales.
And this perfectly dovetails with what we teach folks on the organic and running the group, because they're getting this low ticket offer. And guess where they're going to go? They're going to be redirected into your Facebook group, right? So then you can take that group strategy that we all know and love and actually integrate them into the community. And now you've actually you're net positive, right? Because they now have bought a thing that costs more than the ad spend for the person before they even become like a full client. And you can even, with these ads, right? Like you can start pre-qualifying people, right?
Correct.
Because even with organic, you can get a ton of not ideal people joining your group, and you got to spend all day having conversations with people who maybe aren't ready to have the buy, right?
Correct.
So that is kind of the upside of going with ads.
Well,
but the really important part about that is you need to be really clear on who your ideal client is and what is that transformation. Because even if you have the ideal client, but you're not being clear with them on what the transformation is, they're not going to convert.
Correct. 100%. And it's even like, so I think with you and that day we were working on things, we even talked about like a quiz, right? Yeah. One of the things that we've implemented into our funnel, whenever someone opts in, whether it's from an on Facebook ad or going to one of our landing pages, one of the very last questions we ask for name, email, phone number. I want the trifecta, right? I want to be able to email them. I want to be able to text them. And then we have since shut down our group. Like, just being honest, like our group does not exist right now, right? But we were pushing everyone into our Facebook group so we could nurture them. We were using Group Track to, onboard them and get them in and get them into the content. But the question that we now ask is still a qualifying question. So like for us, it's like, what phase of business are you in? And we give them 3 choices on their opt-in so that we can literally categorize them and feed them the content that they need. And we can figure out who is not a good lead coming in from the ads. And then the people who are good leads, we can then later train Facebook to say, we want more of these people.
Oh, I love that.
Right? But again, it doesn't, like, it goes back to, it does work if you don't have organic, but you're going to pay more money to find what works versus taking something that does work and plugging it in, because that's where you start to get the lower cost. That's where your ad is resonating with the people you're putting it in front of, and that's why they're clicking, and that's why they're opting in.
Yeah, and when we're using super cool tools like Nerdly, right, there's all sorts of cool back-end things, right? Like as someone comes through and you're qualifying them, right, like you can start adding them to a custom audience, remove them from a custom audience.
Correct.
You got the Facebook conversion API, right? And Google AdWords Plus. Over in Nerdly, we have Nerdly Land. We have fun extra tools that we pack in for those who are trying to run ads, because we want to make everyone, like, our job is to set you up for success, right? And being super real, I like to start people with organic because most of the time people don't really know exactly what it is they're offering and exactly who their client is. And that takes some time because that's something you as the entrepreneur need to work through, while also selling, right?
Correct.
And that also lets you have those conversations one-on-one with people that honestly are you're going to find extremely enlightening, because you're going to learn so much about your audience, about people in general, right? And about words, all the things, so that once your offer starts converting, you have a better understanding of your client, your audience, who your ideal client is. And then we can actually get you into getting like a funnel built out and getting into ads, right? Because it's a journey. It's, I would be hard pressed to want to recommend someone to jump into ads right away, just because there's just so much that I'm pretty sure most entrepreneurs don't even know about themselves or their offer or anything, right?
Right. Yeah.
But when they are ready to go, what do you have a resource that would be helpful? Like, what else is there anything that I didn't touch on? I feel like we covered a fair bit.
I think we did. And I don't want to overwhelm everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't currently have a resource at the top of my mind, off the top of my head. I would have to go back and look at what exists. So I'm a firm believer that everything I ever do goes to Google Drive to die. Um, I always do it in Google Drive and then I forget what it is and where it is. So I would have to go look at my list, and obviously I'm not exactly in my office today. um, but I can definitely get you that resource. We can add it to the notes, we can add it to the comments, and hand that over to you. One of the things that I would say is, I think my biggest thing is, if you've sold your offer, if you have it what you consider to be validated, right? You now have this validated offer, whatever that is to you, because there are like some people like, I have to sell 5 for it to be validated. Some are like 10, some are like 50, and whatever.
Yeah.
So whatever your validation number is that you validated your offer, at that moment, I would take just a little bit of what you're doing and start amplifying with content that's already converting. And what I mean by that is like that little $5 a day strategy where you're just putting the trainings from your group, or the training you did on your page, or the 5-minute mindset shift, or whatever it is, in there just to run to build you an audience. So when you're ready for your next launch, when you're ready to test a new lead magnet, when you're ready to test the whole funnel, you already have a few pieces working for you.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
and if I don't have it, I can make that a guide real quick and give it to everybody. So there you go.
We have the tools and we have the resources. But so if you want to learn more about ads or connect with Jes, just leave a nugget of what you learned and we'll make sure to follow up with you. Because I do want to know, like, what were your top takeaways from this call today, right? Like, the point of bringing in guest speakers is I want to make sure that we're delivering everyone in our community with the knowledge and resources from vetted, amazing people that are going to be able to help you set up for success. All right. It looks like Jes is got to get called back to mom duty. So she's in the middle of moving. She's in the middle of moving to closer to the kiddos, which is super awesome. Over here in Nerdly, we love big families. Kate's got the 5 kiddos, and I'm auntie to like everyone around here. So and
here's the deal. Like, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh,
sorry,
you're good.
I love connecting with you guys. So if you have questions, if you're not sure if it would work for you, if you're not sure if you're ready, let's just send me a DM. Let's chat. I'm going to ask you some questions. It's not pressure. It's just, no, you're not ready. Yes, you are ready. And we can talk about what that looks like, because it can be a scary world when you start to venture into ads. And as much as I love funnels and automation, I still love the human connection and talking to our audience and really learning what they need. So, comment below. We want to hear your biggest takeaway, your questions, but then don't be afraid to just land in my DMs.
And that, folks, is exactly why she is the person I chose to partner with for ads, because she prioritizes that human relationship and connection and knows that, like, there's a time and place for the appropriate tools. So with that, I hope this was super helpful for everyone. If start with your organic content, have conversations, know what is actually going to convert for your offer, and then we can try funnels and we get you in some ads to amplify.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, later, nerds.